Pops? Chauncey coming at you with the first Pop Talk moment. The Pop Talk moment is a time for me to connect with and encourage all the fathers out there to do what? To show up for who matters most. So today we'll be covering tough calls. Tough calls have been made throughout history, from President Abraham Lincoln freeing 4 million plus slaves to NFL coach Pete Carroll choosing to throw instead of run in the closing seconds of Super Bowl 49. Why he didn't give the ball to beast mode, I don't know, but he made the call, right? Or maybe you're facing more personal tough calls, like whether to stay or abandon your fatherhood post. Leaders have faced tough calls throughout history, and fathers haven't been excluded. Let's keep it 100. No one wants to make the tough call. Here's why. They're stressful, they're hard to navigate, and requires you to be at your best. I want to share how fathers can face tough calls with confidence by embracing in-your-face demands. Yeah, that's right. In-your-face demands. There are 3 demands. In this video, we'll unpack the first demand. Demand number 1. Tough calls demand risk. Oxford professor Ruth Chang says this: hard choices are hard because there is no best option. Both sides of the decision yield collateral damage. Every change, every challenge, every crisis include risk. What is your job as a dad? Not to freeze up. Don't allow risk involved with tough calls to imprison you in a perpetual state of stalling. Dads are leaders, and leaders take risks. So stop punking out every time you're faced with a decision just because there's some risks involved. Yes, you may run the risk of not being the cool dad for a moment. You may even run the risk of embarrassing yourself and looking like a complete total idiot. Or you may run the risk of actually making a genuine connection with your child. How we handle risk is what separates good dads from the rest. And so we got my daughter Kennedy, right? She's 12 years old. She's extremely outgoing, always up for adventure, always trying new things, extreme extrovert. However, she wasn't always this way. A few years ago, my family and I, we were invited to a camp. Part of the itinerary included going water tubing. Y'all know about water tubing, right? You know, you get on this huge inflated donut and you go zipping across the lake. My family and I, we were all on the boat. We make it to the area and it's time to get on the tube, right? And my wife, she's holding my son Gibson, who was asleep at the time. He was a little baby and he was asleep at the time, knocked out cold. So she wasn't participating. My daughter and I, we hopped onto the water tube, boat takes off and we're having a blast. Boat come to a stop. I get off because I about dislocated my arm out the socket, but that's a whole nother story. My daughter, however, stays on the tube and says to my wife and I want to go again, but this time I want to go alone. I'm thinking, what happened to my daughter? Where did my daughter go? Because you apparently are somebody else. You somebody different. I wasn't sure if she can go out there alone. Anything could have happened to her out there on that lake. What if she blacked out? What if she panicked? What if she had an accident, or God forbid, what if my baby drowned out there? And so I look to my wife, she shrugs. I look to my daughter, she's grinning, beaming ear to ear, right? I look at my son, he out cold, snoring. Look at the boat driver, and I said, let's do it. My daughter had the time of her life, accident, incident free. What's my point here? No risk, no reward. I took a risk and made a tough call. As a result, my daughter was rewarded. That day, my daughter conquered her fears. It was her defining moment. She ain't been the same since. She made progress. Progress involves risk taking. I took a risk in making a tough call. If you aren't willing to take a risk as a father, then you really have no business being a dad. Yeah, I said it. If you're not willing to take a risk, then you really have no business being a father. And I know that's harsh, but it's the truth. It's the God honest truth. And here's why. Because fathers are leaders, and leaders, you know, they take risks. And so as you go about your week, think about the tough calls that you are avoiding. What are some tough calls? What are some areas that you are attempting to punk out in? What are some risks that are keeping you in a perpetual state of just stalling and freezing up? Want to invite you to share a tough call that you've had to make in the comment section. If you don't want to put your business all out in the streets, we understand. Simply DM us. We just want to hear from you and just learn from one another. Also, be sure to click and subscribe to the page so that you can stay abreast of all the content that we're putting out. Again, my name is Chauncey with Pop Talk Podcast. Fatherhood is not a solo sport, it's a team sport. Together we father, together we show up, and together we can eradicate fatherlessness. God bless.